Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we got ourselves a new group revealed in the story. We got ourselves the Tobi Roppo. That's right, the Tobi Roppo, the six flying headliners. Personally, though, I like saying Tobi Roppo. It's like you take a Toby and then you give him a rope. Oh, Tobi Roppo. I remember when Obito used to be fun when he was Toby, and then he just became Obito. Okay, so today, first and foremost, before we even, I was gonna do a video where I talk about, like, okay, now we have all of the enemies revealed pretty much, like last chapter when Queen was doing his funky dance. It was basically just Oda showing us all of the enemies that the rebellion are gonna have to face. You know, waiters, pleasures, gifters, headliners, Tobi Roppo, and then of course you got the calamities, which include Queen, Jack, and King. Then you got Kaido himself. Then you got the Mimaware Gumi, the elite samurai squad of Orochi, and then the Oniwabanshu, the elite ninja squad of Orochi. And so we're gonna be doing that and see like which groups are gonna fight against which. But first off, we got the Tobi Roppo revealed, and that was like the main point of that chapter, because the chapter ended with that big double page spread. These are the six flying headliners. I'll be straight up with you guys. I'll be serious. Like, when the Tobi Roppo were first mentioned by Law, they were name dropped, you know, when Sanji was causing a ruckus up in town, and they were like, okay, they're sending the six flying headliners, they're sending Drake and Page One to take care of Sanji, and Law was like, we should be careful, these are the six flying headliners, these are the Tobi Roppo. I didn't think they were gonna be like that of a big deal, like honestly, I thought like, oh, okay, so these are like basically the best of the headliners, but you still have the calamities that are way stronger, the All-Stars, plus you have Big Mom's crew, plus you have Kaido and Big Mom themselves. So I thought the Tobi Roppo were just going to be like, oh yeah, here's this elite group of, you know, headliners. They're cool and everything. But it seems like Oda's really building them up to be like, no, you don't understand. These guys are going to be wicked strong. And these are probably going to be the groups that are going to, I mean, the group that's going to fight against the Straw Hats mainly. I'm feeling that right now, just because of all the focus that Oda's putting on them right now. So yeah. But yeah, let's take a look at these guys here today. Before we start talking about their abilities though, and who they might be fighting and their personalities and stuff, let's decide the most important thing: who best girl is. Okay, are you ready for this, Barry? All right, we got two choices, maybe three. We got Ulti, we got Black Maria, and let's just throw who's who in there too. Okay, so it might seem a little weird, but it's just roll with it, okay? Because we don't know who's who. We don't know because who's who. Yeah. I've said this before, but that's going to get confusing as hell when that person, like, who's who actually starts fighting somebody. That's going to be so damn confusing to, like, commentate that battle. But, yeah, I'll be okay. So when I first saw the spoilers for this chapter and I saw the designs for all of the Tobi Roppo, I immediately went Black Maria. You know, I'm like, ooh, okay, yeah, let's go with Black Maria. That seems like, and by the way, that was before I even got to see the full image, like the full panel, where we find out that Black Maria is actually, like, giant. She might be part giant, she might be full giant, she might be, we don't even know, we don't see the lower half of her body, she could be a giant mermaid for all we know, right? People think Sasaki might be a fishman. I don't really, I mean, I guess it depends, because he does have the teeth, but we've seen other characters like Bartolomeo have, like, spiked teeth, you know, like the jagged teeth, so that's not necessarily meaning that he's a fishman. He doesn't have webbed toes or anything like that, but Sasaki, I will say, does resemble Jinbei a little bit, so we'll get to him in a second, okay? We're talking about best girl right now, okay? So Black Maria was my immediate first thought, but you know what? After I got to read Ulti's dialogue, and, you know, you take another look at Ulti, she's got attitude, you know, she's got, no, not just attitude, she's got batitude, okay? Like, Ulti is someone like that whole conversation, the chapter ended with them being like, you know, why are we getting called here just to wait? And Sasaki's like, yeah, well, Kaido, you know how he is. When he calls us all together, it can only mean one thing. And then Ulti's off to the side, and she's like, yeah, it's probably some family shit again. Man, is Kaido stupid or something? And then every other member of the Tobi Roppo, every other one, who's like this really, you know, intimidating guy smoking a cigarette with the mask and the sword, Black Maria, who's this giant, Sasaki, who looks like a Yakuza boss with the tattoos and the coat and the teeth and the horns, even Drake, who's like, you know, we know how serious Drake can be. All of them are like, no, what did you just do? No, you crossed the line. But Ulti don't care. Ulti's like, man, I got dragged out of bed for this crap. Coming all the way down here, sitting down, waiting for like, what, it's been like 25 freaking minutes already. Where is he? You know, I'm like, so you know what? Just for the fact that she has enough attitude to backsass Kaido, You know, and we don't know. Kaido is not currently right there. That would be so hilarious if in the next chapter we immediately pick up where that scene left off, where Ulti was just like, man, is Kaido stupid or something? Everyone's like, you can't say that. And then Kaido immediately walks into the room. He's like, who's stupid again? And be like, ah! And then Ulti's like, yeah, I said you're stupid. You kept us waiting 25 freaking minutes. I got stuff to do today. Come on. Yeah, alright, I apologize for that. I was drinking a little bit more than normal. Anyway, so, Tobi Roppo, I have a little thing I want to talk to you guys about. It's my baby boy! Yeah, okay, that would be kind of funny if we just went with that. I'm actually curious what Kaido wants to talk to them about. It's about his son, but we don't know, like, what discussion it's going to be, right? So we'll find out about that in, 2 weeks because of Golden Week. But anyway, let's get to talking about them. Let's just take care of the ones that we already know about, just really quick. First off, we have X-Drake, or Diaz Drake. Drake is the user of the Ancient Zone model Allosaurus. We know this. He was a member of the Supernovas. We know this. And he's a secret member of Sword, which we just recently found out about that. So he's not actually a member of the Tobi Roppo. Keep in mind, everything that Drake is doing, he is relaying the information back to Sword. It seems Sword's primary goal here is to learn about the Yonko and infiltrate their ranks in an attempt to take care of them. Especially considering Kaido is such a big threat to the world. You know, he has the highest active bounty that we know of right now for piracy. It would make sense why they would send, you know, a member of Sword undercover to go after Kaido and not after Big Mom or Shanks. You know, it seems like Kaido is the biggest threat here, okay? So, Drake, though, has been operating under Kaido's banner for what seems to be about 2 years, because he attacked Kaido's island right before the time skip happened, and then apparently right afterwards he was working for him, okay? So, Drake is definitely a man that knows how to do what he's doing, okay? You know, even if he has to do something that is honestly for the benefit of Kaido so he can earn his trust, he will do that if it might even, like, put the Marines maybe a little bit more in danger. Okay, because I think his whole, I think the Sword's whole goal here is, like, this is the elite group led up by Sengoku and Garp, and it's like, listen, you're probably gonna have to do things that you don't want to do. I mean, Drake, before he became a member of Kaido's crew, he was an active pirate. Drake has probably sunk a lot of Navy ships before when he's still technically part of the Navy. So Drake is the kind of guy that's like, hey man, if Marines attack Onigashima and I have to cut a few down so I keep my cover a little bit longer to get to where I need to be, I'm gonna have to do that, right? So, yeah, don't think that he's gonna be soft. He's just gonna take it easy on the rebellion or anything. He has a main goal here. We don't know what the goal is. The goal is overall probably to kill Kaido, but we don't know what route he's going to take with that. Like, is he going to attempt to poison him? Is he going to attempt to sneak in when he's drinking and then attack him from behind? Keep in mind, the Fire Festival occurs every year. And Drake has been a member of Kaido's crew for at least 2 years. But even if you want to say the last year, like, we missed it, he's at least been, I guess, to maybe one Fire Festival already. So this might be Drake's plan. Drake's plan might be like, okay, he attended that first Fire Festival a year ago, got to see how the structure happened, everything worked, you know, oh, okay, so this is what we do during a Fire Festival, okay. And now, a year later, he's got, like, everything memorized, and he's like, okay, here's the plan. I know what I'm going to do. This is the moment. Also, Drake is aware that the rebellion is going on and everything's happening, right? That the samurai are going to be attacking Onigashima. He probably has a pretty good idea, considering he's a supernova. He knows Law and Luffy and Kid are all involved, and Killer and Zoro as well. He knows all these supernovas are involved, so he's like, yeah, they're gonna do something, right? So if Drake is gonna, you know, either join up with Luffy and Law and Kid and everybody to attack Kaido, or if he's going to do his own thing, that's probably going to be happening now, like right around this moment, okay? So keep an eye out for Drake, you know? Page 1, that's the other one that we've already known about. I don't really know much more about Page 1, honestly. We know that Ulti might be his little sister, possibly, because it depends on the translation, the ways that he's, you know, that she's telling him to, like, you know, be quiet or whatever. Well, okay, in the original, it's like Oji-sama, and in the translation, they just call him Pei-Pei, which I think is adorable, because Page 1, he's like, hey, Pei-Pei, just stop it, Pei-Pei. I'm like, okay, so they have a little bit of a banter back and forth. Also, they show up to the meeting both wearing, like, similar masks that only cover their mouths, so I'm not really sure what's up with that, but they might be brother and sister. At the end of the day, I don't think it really typically matters whether or not they're brother and sister, but it seems to be the case there. But yeah, Page 1 has the Ancient Zone model Spinosaur, which allows him to transform into Jurassic Park 3, which was one of the weaker members, one of the weaker entries of the Jurassic Park franchise. Probably the weakest entry in the Jurassic Park franchise, if we're thinking. I personally like the first one, and Jurassic World was good. The 2 and 3, I mean, Jeff Goldblum's okay, but, you know, so he's the Spinosaur, right? Also, Sanji managed to deal some pretty good damage to him, not to the point where, like, page 1 was, like, near death or anything, but Sanji in his raid suit, which he was just getting used to, using the raid suit and everything with that, and the invisibility capabilities, the stealth capabilities of that, was able to pretty much deal with, you know, Spinosaur page 1 with little issues. So right now, I'm honestly throwing it out that page 1 might be the weakest member of the Tobi Roppo. I think that would also be good just for the sense of, like, when Oda introduced, you know, page 1, it's like, all right, I'm going to start with Drake. We already know who Drake is. We already know what he's about. But I'm also going to throw in page 1, who's the weakest member of the Tobi Roppo. Just because, you know, we want to show you, okay, he's the weakest, but he's still pretty strong, and he can turn into a damn Spinosaur, okay? So, yeah, we don't get much more from page 1. When he was first fighting against Sanji, he seemed to have, like, you know, that kind of, like, boisterous personality, but when he's up against Ulti, it seems like he's just he's more submissive, so that lends it to maybe believe maybe it's his older sister, and just like, oh, you know, okay, my big sis or my little sis is telling me what to do, I'm just gonna listen to what she says now, okay, I'm just gonna go with it, okay? He seemed a little nervous around her, okay, so there you go. But we already know about Drake in page 1, but now we move on to the ones that we don't know. So there's Ulti. Ulti, we get most of her personality from the last chapter, more so than any of the other members. It seems like her attitude, her batitude, is a recent development, because one of them mentions, like, you know, what's the, like, who's who says, like, it's like, what's with this new attitude you have? It's getting annoying. Stop it. So it seems like she recently just started acting this way. So maybe she's a teenager. Maybe she's going through, you know, she's just like that emotional stage in her life, all right, where she just, you know, starts making fun of everybody, making weird quips to everyone, and, you know, talking back and snapping at everybody. That's just what she's doing now, okay? But it seems to be a new thing. I also thought maybe, if it's not like a personality change because she's, like, you know, getting older or whatever, we've learned from Chopper that when you consume certain zone devil fruits, like carnivorous zones, that can actually affect your personality in a certain way. So, like Rob Lucci, for example, when he ate his carnivorous zone model leopard, the Neko no Mi model leopard, yeah, turned him into a leopard, but it also made him a little bit more bloodthirsty than he would have been originally, so it does tend to change your personality a bit. So that's what happens when you just have, like, a regular carnivore, like in our world, like a leopard or a cheetah or whatever. Imagine what it must be like to eat an ancient zone, and you have the raw, carnal, primal power of the dinosaurs inside of you. That would also probably skew your personality maybe a little bit. Might make you a little bit more, it might make you a little bit more intense, you know, you attack people more often, verbally and physically, maybe. So, that might be the case with her. Maybe, she recently consumed, like, I'm gonna go Velociraptor. I don't know why, I just feel Velociraptor for her. She's kind of like the most, like, the smallest and petitest member of the Tobi Roppo, so that'd be cool. Velociraptor, right? So, let's say she ate her zone recently, and that affected her personality, and that's why she's acting that way. Or it could be another reason, and she just decided to do it. But yeah, I'm liking Ulti. I'm liking her personality, so we're seeing where we're going from there. So, moving on now to Who's Who is on first. Who's Who on first? Yeah, okay. I'm gonna beat that joke until it dies, by the way. Okay, so anyway, Who's Who? He's pretty cool. He's got a mask, like a Batman mask, that stretches down for most of his face. Can't even see his eyes. He's got a sword, which I would say we don't know much about his personality, other than he's a rather gruff individual and he smokes. But in One Piece, having a sword is your own personality trait. Okay, so that's pretty cool, right? And I don't think any of the other headliners, or none of the other Tobi Roppo use swords in battle. We know, well, Drake uses kind of like a rapier sort of thing. He also has, like, that giant mace, that quad axe. He has a quad axe. But yeah, I think he's the one that we saw of the Tobi Roppo that actually has a katana that he wields. That's pretty neat. I like to think Stegosaurus for him, and I said this in the review, just because I think the face, the mask, it kind of resembles a stegosaur. I think I could see him transforming and having the armor all over his body. Alright, let's pause right there. So, upon closer study of some dinosaur pictures, It turns out that what I originally assumed was a stegosaur is closer to an ankylosaur. Now look, I know what a stegosaur is, and I know what an ankylosaur is, but for some reason I was mixing up some of their physical traits. Like, originally I pictured a stegosaur having like that blunt tail that you like hit, like smacks at other dinosaurs with. So stegosaurs do have tails that they like smack other dinosaurs with, like as a defense mechanism, but the tail is more spiky. Okay, an ankylosaur is more blunt, and an ankylosaur also has much more dense armor than a stegosaur does. So that's what I was originally picturing. I was just mixing up some of their characteristics. So yeah, forget everything that I said about Who's Who transforming into a stegosaur. I meant this. This is an ankylosaur. I meant ankylosaur, okay? With the armor to, like, better defend him while he's also attacking with a sword and, like, whipping around his tail and smacking people. That's what I was picturing in my head. I don't know why I made that mix-up, but who's who, am I right? Amongst dinosaurs. So that would combine, like, defense and offense in, like, one package. So in his hybrid form especially, he would have, like, thick armor all over his body like a stegosaur, and maybe he would have part of the tail coming out that he can, like, whip around and attack. So he can use kind of like a two-sword style, or maybe like a one-sword, one-club style, where he uses his katana to, like, attack his enemy, you know, clash and, like, get, like, a blade lock, and then he has his tail that just whoosh, boom, and just like a giant like studded club that just smacks you upside the face. So yeah, I'm going stegosaur for Who's Who, most definitely. But yeah, honestly, in terms of aesthetic, the way they look, I really like Black Maria's design. Drake is obviously really cool, but just the one that, like, to me looks the coolest and I want to see, like, get into a fight with somebody, that's probably going to be Who's Who. I want to see Who's Who do some stuff on first. Okay, so Black Maria, all right, giant woman, all right, so, yeah, didn't expect there to be a giant or giant, you know, maybe half giant, you know, individual in the Tobi Roppo, but we'll go with it. I think it's because when we saw, them all walking in the last chapter, chapter 977, at the very end of that, when we saw all their feet, like, walking forward, I went back and checked, and, Black Maria, like, you do get to see a set of feet way, way, way in the back, so I guess that would be Black Maria, because you only get to see one woman's legs in that panel, which would, of course, be, obviously, Ulti's, because she was wearing the high heels and everything, and so we don't really get to see Black Maria too much. She's way in the back because she's really big, right? So we don't even get to see the lower half of her body in the last chapter. She's just kind of hanging out over that balcony, but she has a really cool design. She's got, like, a loose kind of, like, you know, kimono kind of geisha outfit going on. One of her shoulders is revealed, and she's got, like, swords in her hair, which are not, like, sword pins. They're probably, like, actual sized katanas, maybe even a little larger than normal katanas in her hair, you know, like, to keep her bun up and everything like that. And she seems to be a little bit more, you know, I'm trying to think of another word other than kinky, but I can't really think of that, so I'm just gonna go with kinky. Just, I don't know, she's just like, oh, I love it when Ulti snaps at people. And she's got, like, some of her tongue going out. I'm like, okay, all right, yes, okay, yes, we'll see where this goes. Yes, indeed. You know what? Given her initial personality, she seemed like rather like, okay, I like it when Ulti snaps at people. And then Ulti snaps at Kaido, and she's like, Kaido must be stupid. Even she was still like, oh, you can't do that, you crossed the line! Dear sweetie, you crossed the line there, you can't do that. So even with that, she was, like, startled. Like, all the Tobi Roppo reacted that way, right? But yeah, Black Maria, I think, is going to be a lot of people's favorites, considering the situation there. We already talked about Drake, so just moving on now to Sasaki, who's the last member. Sasaki, like, he looks really cool in terms of a design, but it's just, I think I've seen that design a lot of other times in other kinds of manga and other characters in One Piece, so I kind of like, alright, so he's like the badass, you know, he's got tattoos, he's got the coat, he's like, yeah, we're gonna do this. I'm like, I've seen that kind of character before, but, you know, looking at him, he does look pretty interesting, right? I saw a lot of people saying that he might go up against Jinbei, and if you'd actually take Sasaki and Jinbei and put them next to each other, you could see them fighting. You could see, like, a similar aesthetic, at least. You know, like the long hair, the Yakuza, the boss feel. They both wear the wooden Japanese sandals. They have the jagged teeth, you know, whether or not be because Sasaki is actually a fishman or a half fishman or just something else. Whatever, you don't know. I threw out the idea that, oh, by the way, I thought Black Maria was going to be a T-Rex. Because I really want the T-Rex. There's other dinosaurs out there that are more badass, and there's ones that are even bigger than the T-Rex. But the T-Rex, I feel like, you're gonna have a manga focusing on dinosaurs in this particular arc. There's a lot of dinosaurs. You need to have a T-Rex. And Black Maria, by the way, keep in mind, like, if Black Maria had, like, she was regular sized and she had the T-Rex zone, she would get bigger just like Drake gets bigger. But because she's already a giant, and if she were to eat the T-Rex zone, that means she would be a giant T-Rex. Yeah, so T-Rexes were pretty big, obviously bigger than humans and everything like that, but we would have like a Gigantosaurus T-Rex with Black Maria. That would be crazy, like the thing, like the Indominus Rex, like the in Jurassic World, okay? Like, something like that. So I'm like, oh, Black Maria, I hope you transform into a giant T-Rex. That would make my day. But then Sasaki, I threw out the idea of Triceratops, just because you round out all the most famous dinosaurs, but also the horns that were coming out of Sasaki's head were kind of angled differently than the others. Like, you know, the typical Kaido horns, you know, are like, you know, they go like this, like horizontal, and they sloop down like that, like the ancient giants, like Oars and Little Oars and everybody. Like Who's Who, I think on his mask, it has it coming off like this. Drake doesn't have horns. I mean, I guess his hair counts. His hair is kind of spiky, but, you know, his hair doesn't actually form like the horns like that. But Sasaki's horns are a little different because they come out of his, like, he don't come out of his side, they come out of his forehead, and they do this. So I thought him transforming into Triceratops, that'd be really neat, just run people down and gore them and stuff like that. I could see that happening and have like the face shield and everything like that. But I also saw people throwing out saber-toothed tiger. And I thought that would be neat, too, as an ancient zone. Because keep in mind, just like Jack is not a dinosaur, he's a mammoth. Also, just going along with that logic, King is technically not a dinosaur, he's a pteranodon, which is a pterosaur, not a dinosaur. But still, basically, like, close enough to the point where you can get them confused. But then you have Jack, who's just a woolly mammoth. And then you could maybe have Sasaki, who's a saber-toothed tiger. I think because of the teeth and because of the luscious mane of hair that he has, people think saber-toothed tiger. So, I could see it, but I'm still going with Triceratops just because I already locked in my decision, and I'm just waiting for them to reveal their devil fruits and be like, all right, which ones did I get? We already knew page 1 in Drake, so let's like, did I get 4 out of 4, 3 out of 4, 2 out of 4, 1 out of 4? It turns out none of them, like Oda picks a bunch of really obscure ancient creatures and dinosaurs and pterosaurs and models them after that. He's like, oh, you thought we're gonna have T-Rexes in One Piece? Nope. You thought we were gonna have Triceratopses and Stegosaurus in One Piece? Nah, no Velociraptors here. I'm picking like the really obscure dinosaurs, right? Could be, but I'm gonna stay with that, right? So yeah, let me know what you think about Sasaki and what's going on with him, okay? Because yeah, I'll be honest with you, he's the one that, like, okay, I'm interested in Ulti and Black Maria just by default, you know, like, that doesn't even need to be explained. I'm interested in Drake because he's a supernova and we've known him for so long, and we even got a little bit of his backstory with Law and everybody, and then of course the whole thing with Sword, so he's very interesting. Page 1, I don't know what it is about Page 1, because we already saw him, I guess. I kind of want to see him fight against Sanji again, like a rematch with Sanji, and that little dynamic he had with Ulti I thought was fun, so like the brother-sister relationships, that's cool. And then Who's Who, just because everything about Who's Who is interesting to me. The mask, his name, he uses a sword, you know, that all seems really interesting to me. So for me, like, the one that's I'm the most least interested in seeing, like, if, like, okay, like when they all straight up start fighting the different characters, like when they start breaking up into their individual fights, maybe they'll team up, maybe Page 1 and Ulti will team up for a fight, but whenever they start fighting, probably the one that I'll be the least interested in is Sasaki. I might be wrong on that. Maybe Sasaki fights against Jinbei and he turns out to be the best fight in the entire arc. Who knows? I don't know, maybe. But yeah, Sasaki's the one that I'm like the least interested in right now. So yeah, but that's the Tobi Roppo, and from what with the Tobi Roppo and what we got from what little we know about their personalities and my theories on their fruits and what they can transform into, you know, and what they might do later in the arc. So next video, we're gonna just go on a big, huge list of like everybody, like here's all Kaido's forces, here's the Rebellion's forces, and let's see who's gonna match up, who's who. Yeah, so we'll be doing that next. Okay, so yeah, we got some time. We got some time to kill because Golden Week, so we got an extra 2 weeks to work with here. So get ready though. I'm thinking Oda might be. I mean, Oda knew this was Golden Week, so building up the hype with this. You know, is the fighting gonna start next chapter? I don't think the fighting against like the heavy hitters is gonna start next chapter. I think we're gonna need to see a little bit more with the festival itself, but you know, the fighting with the low-level soldiers, like the samurai just charging in and fighting against the random guards that are just waiting around, that's probably going to start next chapter. And then while they're raising hell, we'll have the main group of people like Kinemon and Denjiro and the Straw Hats and the Kid Crew coming together and being like, okay, well, they're all raising hell doing that. I want to fight against this person. Luffy and Kid are, of course, like, we're going to fight against Kaido, and Zoro's going to, I'm going to fight against Orochi, and, like, we're going to do all this stuff, and we're all going to split up from here, maybe. We might get the split up chapter next time, because they obviously can't move together in one big group. But we'll see how it goes. We'll see what happens. Maybe when they get inside of Skull Mountain, they walk up those steps in Muffin Mountain, there's, like, a scene in, like, Bleach, where there's, like, alright, so we now have, like, 10 different stairwells all going off into different parts of the mountain. So I guess we all make an oath to come back here alive again. We all got together, but now we separate. Bye! Maybe. I don't know. Anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. This will be Tekking101 signing out. Tobi Roppo!